Hi, I'm Shola. I'm a corporate banker in the UK. So I currently live in Luton, which is just off the outskirts of London. Um, but I work in London, so I tend to go in. I spend most of my time in London, to be fair. So I came over in 2020. And it was a bit tough. I think one memory I definitely have stuck somewhere in my head is the weather. It's like just having to deal with the weather. I remember waking up. I think I took a nap around like 2 p.m. and I woke up around 4, and it was significantly darker. And I was really confused. I was like, "What's the time?" Because I mean, you know, you've probably been. I've been to the UK a few times before that, so just to visit, maybe like never really spent like 2 3 weeks. It was more like a vacation or anything. Um, but staying there, I woke up and I saw it was really dark, and I just couldn't deal with it. I remember phoning up my sister who lives here, and she's been here longer than I am. I was asking her like, "Yo, is this normal? What exactly is happening?" So that was a big one. But I would say adapting was definitely tricky, complex. Still adapting till this day. Um, but the biggest one was had to do with the weather really. Yeah. The UK is like it's great, it's dull, it's either rainy or like windy or cloudy or something. You hardly see short sunshine. When the sun does come out, it is quite nice. Right now it's a bit cloudy. Um, I reckon it might rain in like a few minutes or a couple of hours. Um, but yeah, you sort of just get used to it. You get used to layering up a bit more. Right now I have like a fleece on that I wouldn't naturally wear. Your style sort of adapts to it and you get used to it eventually. Food is all right. You have a lot of Nigerians here. Like the UK is what 6 hours from Lagos, so who would they fall in? So the food is all right. You have a huge Nigerian contingent. Like I actually stepped out earlier before I jumped on the call, and I went to an African restaurant and I grabbed chin chin. Like it's crazy that it's right here by my side, but yeah, I was just gonna eat it after the call, and it was right here by my side. So the food is all right. You get a lot of Nigerian food. You get a lot of like different types of meals as well. I'm definitely more on the Nigerian side. I cook pretty well myself, so usually like today I'll probably make jollof rice when I get off the call when I get some time later this evening. Or make soup. Sometimes I make a for you or make a goosey. So I just make stuff that I like. I like eating Sola. I like eating Nigerian food. When I can't cook, I try and buy Nigerian food. But I also try other things as well, like just to be a bit more open-minded. Like if I was going out with a few friends, I might go to a decent restaurant and try something new. But on a day-to-day, I really just eat Nigerian food. I cook Nigerian food. I buy Nigerian food. To be fair, so I mean, the chunk of my time here has been spent mixing with like what's a diverse group of people. Because the uni I went to a university called Warwick, which was in and around Coventry. But it had like a huge international student population. So going there, I think my flat, I don't know, I was the only African in my flat, but we only had two Brits, like two British or Englishmen. The rest were Chinese. There was someone from China, mainland China, then there was someone from Hong Kong, so Cantonese. I think there was a Taiwanese person there. There was someone from Belgium as well. So you kind of get like just like a hodgepodge or however you would call it, of different, like a mix of different people. Especially living in London or going to like an international school, you get a different mix of people, which is always quite nice because I like being surrounded by like just a diverse group. I think it really expands my horizon and makes me see things differently coming from where I'm coming from. It doesn't mean I drop all that I picked up growing up. I still hold on really dear to like the values that I picked up growing up. But I think it exposes me and gives me a lot of information to sort of decipher and sort of improve and iterate because I feel every culture has their different strengths and weaknesses, and it's always quite helpful to learn from them. Um, so I mean, this might vary city by city, place by place. I know there are places in the UK where you're definitely going to bump into more traditionally English or British people than others. But for me, my experience has been definitely cosmopolitan. It's been transnational. You have blacks, Nigerians, Caribbeans, Zimbabweans, Ugandans. Like it's a whole mix, different culture. Um, but I like it. One thing I've learned being here is just you know the need for adaptability, the ability to sort of mix in different people with different cultures and with different vibes and with different scenarios. You can't. you can't be so stuck in your ways. Now, that doesn't mean you should lose the essence of who you are, or you should be pretentious, or you should be someone who is a people pleaser. But here, you just sort of have to, the skill of almost seeing people and trying to relate with them and communicate in a clear, concise way. Is one that you definitely pick up, especially when you're just in a cosmopolitan metropolitan area where you just get to meet different people. So one thing I would say I've learned, not, and this is an iteration on your question, not necessarily about the place, but that I've learned just being existing in the places, is the need for adaptability, the need for flexibility, and emotional intelligence. I think it all stems from emotional intelligence to be able to relate differently with different people. When you know where your starting point is and you know where you're starting from, when you are able to, when you then receive new information, you know what you're working with. And because you know who you are, you have a baseline, you know what works for you and what doesn't. You're not easily pushed to the side. So for me, the way I've been able to just try and ensure that the information that I receive, because relating with these people, just being in a new environment, a lot of information, we are taking all of this in, is sticking to a good routine, waking up at certain times. If prayer is your thing, praying. If meditating is your thing, meditating. If you rather do something else, do that. But just sticking to a routine, having a baseline. Also keeping in touch with family. I'm lucky enough I get to see family from time to time, at least once or twice a year. That if I'm coming here or they're going back. If they're coming here or I'm going back. My sister lives here as well as her husband, so that's always nice to touch base. I'm also just keeping in touch with them. Having a guiding set of principles. Some people do that through like religion. Like I said, if that's your thing, or some people, they have principles that, just from observing life, they're saying that this is what they like and what they do not like. So that keeps them grounded. I would say, for me, the biggest thing here, in terms of just having to deal with change and doing, and handling all the experiences that sort of come is knowing who you are, understanding who you are. That doesn't mean you are resistant to change. It doesn't mean you are headstrong and you never really adjust, or you are not adaptable, you're not flexible. But it just means that you know where you are starting from. And I believe that when you know where you're starting from and you know who you are, then you know how to handle any new piece of information that comes, because then you are not just, something is not, you're not on either end of an extreme. You're not the person that when any new information that comes, you just jump on it. And you are just different things, and nobody even knows who you are anymore. And you are also not the other person on the other side of the spectrum, where any new information that comes, you just dismiss it and you stay headstrong. So that I would say has been the key for me, staying sane, and dealing with all the information and all the changes and all the experiences that just sort of come. Over here is definitely a bit more liberal, and I think that is expected. Definitely a more liberal country. You sort of see things that you wouldn't necessarily see in Nigeria. Nigeria is very conservative, whether pretentiously or unpretentiously. But Nigeria being Nigeria is very conservative. So things that you would imagine that, quite frankly, I guess our generation sort of is veering away from this, but things that our generation or some more liberal, a more liberal demographic wouldn't see as anything really particular. Nigerians might see that and latch onto it and then be surprised. So I'll say there's that. From a work perspective, because I didn't work in Nigeria for a year, just finance and finance, I think here it's also very, and I think that translates even from work and finance into like the daily life. It's more regulated here. Like there's a lot of law here, like a lot of regulation. I think the UK is the most regulated financial market, I think. So it's very, it can be, especially coming from Nigeria, it can feel a bit stifling, because I think Nigerians generally can be, although we have a conservative nature, we can still be very expressive. We're very colorful, very, Yoruba people are like, they like parties, they're very loud, they're very, the Igbos are also quite expressive, the Hausas are quite expressive. So coming into this environment where everything is very regulated, you might, there's that tension between, the regulation and do this, do that, which is fine. I think, I'm not saying Nigerians are not free. I think we can't really, but it can be sometimes very annoying having to deal with all of that. But it's not a learning experience. It's all about adaptability. Anyway. So those are really the two things I'll point out. I would say just how much more liberal it is here. But even on the flip side, how much more regulation and sort of have to do. I think I'm trying to balance between taking it as it comes and having a solid plan. In terms of making a home here, I'm not sure if I want to make a home here. I don't know if I found this where I want to make my home yet. There are sometimes I look at, try and sit back and have a think and have a feel of my surroundings and ask myself, do I see myself living here? Do I see myself in 15, 20 years having a family here and really doing life here? I don't really know about it. For now, for me, one of the draws for me anyway was like really the financial center here. It's like if you're trying to do finance, there's really 2-3 places. You're thinking London, New York, maybe Hong Kong or Singapore. It's like it kind of makes sense to come down here to sort of learn my craft. Ultimately, it's just taking it as it comes. Preparing what I believe in is just learn, expand your craft, dedicate yourself to something. And when the opportunities come, you can take advantage of it. I don't like the idea of having an opportunity come and I can't take advantage of it. Sometimes I like it's all right if you're not able to take advantage of it at that point in time. But if it's because I didn't do something that I should have done, that I couldn't take advantage of that opportunity, that I find it hard to deal with because I'm like, Sola, you could have done better, you could have handled it better. So right now I'm just honing my craft, learning my work, trying to get good at what I do, trying to add value. And see where that takes me, see where life takes me, and see what comes of it. It's all a journey, so I'm just enjoying the journey, taking it step by step.